Hello again, and welcome to SDGC for Thursday, April 9th. If you're not aware, SDGC meets right here each and every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we discuss the latest gaming headlines with a wide variety of panel members and guests. We also do a whole bunch of other stuff as time allows, like a separate show about movies and television, pre-recorded content, and a morning show that is on hiatus. I probably need to update the sheet here. If you've been along for the ride so far, welcome home. And if not, hey, feel free to stick around and maybe throw us a sub. Every single podcast is archived the next day on our YouTube channel for those who like to watch. And you can find us on all major podcast services for those who like to listen. How is everybody on this glorious Thursday night?
John, we just had a conversation about asking people that.
Yeah, it's not great. It's not a great choice.
What? No, okay, fine.
No, okay. No, I'll answer for real. I got a 1,000-piece puzzle in the mail today. And that was actually incredible because due to current circumstances, puzzles are sold out most places. Apparently everybody is getting a hankering for doing puzzles. But I managed to order a 1,000-piece puzzle and it showed up in a few days. The theme is botanicals. If you want to imagine kind of a cool old lady who has like a really big garden and she has like a poster on her wall with like diagrams of like a dandelion and like a peony and stuff. That it's like 8 of these like flower diagrams and then kind of like some swirly art around the edges and stuff, and it's very nice. And I started it, like I dumped it out on the table when it showed up, but I was working so I couldn't do it right away, but I kept looking at it throughout the day, and my cats kept coming over and trying to bat the pieces off the table. And then I had an hour between work and this, and I sat down and I started doing it, and guys, I just want to do my puzzle. I love you and I love the show, but I keep looking at that puzzle. Oh my god. Puzzles are good. Get a puzzle, guys.
We are literally keeping Reb from her puzzle right now.
If you need a recommendation for a place that still has puzzles in stock and will apparently ship them within like 3 to 4 days, I got you.
Well, I do want to point. Right? Oh, that'd be
also,
great.
this is homemade mead. Hell yeah.
I'll take it. Oh yeah, Reb's drinking the mead. I'm drinking a peanut butter whiskey, which has become
this again.
my it's so fucking good. What's everybody drinking? Just bourbon?
Just bourbon.
Yeah, I've got my Jack and Coke. I'm chilling.
There you go,
yeah.
Devin. There you go. Finn, what about you? What are you drinking? Margarita. Is that a margarita in a bottle?
Tiny little margarita.
I love it.
Well,
hey, John, that person drinking a Jack and Coke, who's that?
That sounds like a new person.
I was just about to mention this person, so I am very excited for this. The voice that you heard drinking a Jack and Coke is Davionne Gooden, and Davionne is the developer of She Dreams Elsewhere from Studio Zevere. This is something that I've been looking forward to a long time. She Dreams Elsewhere was by far my game of the show at PAX East this past year. I'm fucking in love with this game because I'm a huge fan of Earthbound. I love Persona and I love Undertale. So like, how could I not? And we brought Davionne on to talk about She Dreams Elsewhere, and I guess kind of also how Studio Zevere actually got its start. So, Davionne, thank you so much for agreeing to join us, man.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. Really appreciate it.
This is so good. I'm so excited.
And I gotta say, thank you so much for putting up with my weeks of trying to find a good time for you, because it's definitely worth it. You're an awesome dude.
No, that was all on me, man. Like, it was me being sick, me taking a break, like all this stuff. But we made it happen. We're here. Life is good.
Times are rough, man. Times are rough. Totally get it.
So as everybody knows, we usually start the show off with what we've all been playing. And since we have a guest, I want to throw to Davionne first. Davionne, as we've all been home for a while now, what have you been occupying your time with game-wise? What's keeping you going?
So I've been catching up a lot of my Switch backlog. Finished Florence, Greece, Celeste, all of which just amazing games. Especially Celeste. Like that was 10 hours of just pure pain, but also bliss, because that game was just absolutely like
that's a killer
crushing.
Lineup.
Yeah, it was a good time. And then right now I'm playing through Kingdom Hearts 3, which is
it's a video game.
It has its moments, but the writing is it really makes you appreciate good writing. Let me leave it at that.
Okay, that's fair.
But it's a good time.
Sorry, I had to unmute. Like, no, the stream for whatever reason like got unmuted for me on my computer, so I couldn't tell what was. I was like, wait, hold on, what is happening? So, and then I realized that I was like, what the fuck is going on?
What are we at? Two tally marks on the technical problems chart now.
Heck yeah.
Well, no, so technically, that's not a technical problem. That's just me not realizing
That's
that
a John
unmuted
problem.
John,
That's a John
half
problem.
of the technical problems we have are probably actually John problems.
Really?
No.
Come on, John.
Okay.
What are you doing,
Okay.
bro?
I'm teasing,
Well,
man.
no, this is true though. Like, I mean, everybody needs to remember the chart that Reb made. I cause problems intentionally and unintentionally, so that's what I'm here for. No, Davionne, did you have anything else you wanted to mention?
Oh no, that's it. Kingdom Hearts 3. Good game, but writing is we'll see about that one.
Very Nomura. Very Nomura.
How far are you?
I'm like halfway through the Frozen world.
Okay, so you got a little bit of time left.
Yeah, still pretty early.
So let's move on to Derek. Derek, I actually caught some of your Mass Effect 2 stream today.
3, but I mean,
or 3. Sorry,
I'm continuing to stream Mass Effect 3 right now, which I mean, going through that franchise again has been lovely, just a bit at a time. I also, Resident Evil 3 came out last week, so I had played through and beaten that, and it was lovely. I was much happier with it than I thought I was going to be from some of the mixed discourse. I love the new interpretation of Jill Valentine. She's very fun. She's very badass. The line "bitch can't even swim" is going to go down as one of the greatest lines of dialogue ever written.
It's so good, yeah.
But that, and then I've been replaying Fire Emblem on Switch because it's a good comfort food. I think I'm finally over the fact that I'm not allowed to romance Claude.
Which house?
Right now, I'm doing Silver Snow is what I'm going through.
Oh, man, I would not be over that.
Okay.
Yeah, so I know it's hard that I can't.
I wouldn't be over that.
I did decide that I was going to romance Rhea to give that a shot. I did say the phrase out loud, "I'm going to bang the Pope, and the only thing that can stop me is Nintendo," which made me realize Fire Emblem may have poisoned my brain a little bit. I did get a wooden spoon thrown at me by Martha for that particular stupid line. So
that's very good.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing.
You know what?
You're playing a lot of very horny games right now, bud.
Resident Evil's not horny.
Okay, never mind. You're playing 2/3 horny games.
Well, not anymore, because they removed Jill's skirt. I mean,
look,
Censorship.
I'm a simple man, okay? If you put romance options in a game, that's what that game becomes about for me.
I mean, if Nemesis does it for you, then I'm not here to shame it.
Listen, if I could romance other characters in Animal Crossing and have it not be weird bestiality, I'd fucking do it.
Imran makes good point. Carlos is big horny hours. Carlos is a beautiful boy. But
I would romance Isabelle if I had the chance. Absolutely. She's just pure. She's wholesome. That's what this world needs right now. I'll go next.
We're gonna let that comment go.
I have been playing a metric shit ton of Animal Crossing, of course. What else is new? I finished Resident Evil 3.
John, how much is a metric shit ton? How many hours do you have in Animal Crossing?
I want to say like 70.
Keep up, man. Keep up.
Hey, look, there's a lot of games.
Numbers.
There's a lot of compared to somebody like Reb or like Don, like those are rookie numbers, but still, like there's a lot of games to play. I'm trying to catch up on my backlog. I replayed Wind Waker HD because I fucking love Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. I'm in the middle of replaying Link's Awakening because that's like my 4th replay since September. I fucking love that game. Doing a little Pokemon catching. Like I said, I finished Resident Evil 3 and it's good. It's real good. Resident Evil 2 is a tough act to follow, and there are some really baffling changes from the like some of the best parts of the game are just from the original PlayStation version are just completely cut out, like the Gravedigger Worm and the Clock Tower. All that stuff is gone, and I really didn't make a lot of sense. Bottom line is it's really good, but I didn't get the urge to jump right back in and replay it like I did with Resident Evil 2 because there's just not that much replay value. And aside from that, I am just looking forward to Final Fantasy VII Remake tonight at midnight, baby. Boom! Waiting 5 years for this game. It's time. Finn, what are you playing?
Me, I have been playing some Doom Eternal.
Yeah.
Still slogging my way through that game. But most of my time has been now spent. I caught the Divinity Original Sin 2 bug again. I started up a 4-player co-op campaign with my friends back home.
It is going around.
And then I enjoyed that 4-player campaign with my friends so much that in the times when I'm not playing with them, I started up a 2-player co-op campaign with our very own Kogasu, and the two of us have been playing through that, and it's just an absolute delight, and so good. And then of course, I'll be playing some Final Fantasy VII Remake this week, and we will see if a remake can make Final Fantasy VII a good Final Fantasy game.
Ooh, that's
hot take. Hot take.
Yeah. No, I should have warned you, Davionne. I'm sorry. Finn is. Finn is. I have much better Final.
Finn is anti most good games, which is very strange.
That's actually no. Final Fantasy VII is a good Final Fantasy game. It's not a great Final Fantasy game. We'll change that.
10% disagree.
And that's fair.
I actually do. I don't like the original Final Fantasy.
I have to answer Rar's question in chat. He's asking me how many hours I have in Animal Crossing. Honestly, about 5. If you add up all the time that I play Saki's game, because she's like, catch me a tarantula, because she can't do it, but I'm real good at catching tarantulas. I am apparently I have never been bitten by a tarantula, and I never will. I'm the master of red light, green light.
Finn, sincere moment here. You've played about 5 hours of Animal Crossing. Have your feelings on it changed even a little bit?
It's fine.
Okay.
I'm not going to begrudge anybody their joy. This game has brought so much happiness and just tranquility to so many people. Saki is nearing 100 hours in the game.
I know that's always been your opinion, but like you've played a little bit of it. Does this game change anything for you?
It does not, because I still don't see the point of it.
Okay, that's fine. I was just curious.
But I'm happy that it's so good.
The point is become financially indebted to a trash panda. That's the point. But everything. Exactly. It's a metaphor for America right now. We're all in debt to a trash panda.
I wish I was in debt to a raccoon instead of to a bank.
Yeah. Reb, aside from Animal Crossing, but you are free to talk about Animal Crossing.
Aside from Animal Crossing, what do you think I'm playing any other video games right now?
Then tell us, Reb, how much are turnips on your island right now?
Oh, the prices are
Water
terrible.
cozy.
I had a very bad week. Yeah, so yes, I've been playing just copious amounts of Animal Crossing. It's wild. I think I'm up to over 120 hours in that game right now. Granted, at least a little bit of that was spent leaving the game idle for other people to show up on my island while I was doing other things. I do tend to leave it idle sometimes while I'm because the ambience is very nice. I'll read a book while my character's sitting on a bench or something. It's very nice. But yeah, no, I have played a crap ton of Animal Crossing. I have hit most of the major milestones. I think the thing that everyone's playing Animal Crossing. I think the thing that I will say about this right now is, as someone who loves Animal Crossing deeply and has played it, over years, like both New Leaf and Wild World, it is interesting to watch the internet go through the cycle of playing Animal Crossing where everybody had bought the game when it came out and they all lost their minds and everybody loved it. And we're now 2 weeks into launch now? And a lot of people just burned through it, and it's one of those games that demands you take your time, and obviously Nintendo was not assuming they were going to be launching this game during a pandemic, and so people have just pushed really hard through a lot of the game's milestones and just done so much stuff, which is great. They're doing a lot of community stuff, they're doing time trial, and play the game how you want to, right? But they're hitting, 60, 70, 80, 100 hours, whatever, 2 weeks in, and they're like, okay, I'm bored now, what's the point? And it's very funny to watch people start to both start to fall off the game and also watch people start to write think pieces. Actually, Animal Crossing isn't that good. Let me tell you why. And it's very funny to me. I will be playing this forever because for me, Animal Crossing is about the little stories that I make for myself with my characters over time. And I'm not in any hurry to pay off my loan. What's up, Finn?
No, I just want to say that one of the greatest joys of this pandemic has been listening to Saki's just sheer joy anytime she catches a new fish or finds a new recipe. So good for Animal Crossing.
Yeah,
I
love it. I've put that many hours into it, but which makes it sound like I'm way ahead. And I mean, I am in the sense that I have like the Able sisters. I have like a lot of infrastructure now. But in terms of like paying off my loan and decorating things and getting the villagers I want and making money and kind of all those long-term goals people have, I'm just taking my time. I spend a lot of time just kind of wandering around talking to everybody. I have a lot of flowers, everybody. It takes me about an hour every morning, an hour and 4 watering cans to water every flower on my island.
Wow.
I like it. It is soothing.
I do it too because I want the Nook Miles points and because it is very soothing. I've actually got a question for Reb about this before we kick it over to Davionne. Reb, if the world were not going through what it is right now, do you think the cultural zeitgeist around Animal Crossing would not be as, I guess, pronounced or fervent?
I mean,
as
obviously
it
it wouldn't be as pronounced. Sorry, shameless plug for the website I write for. Over at gamesindustry.biz last Friday or the Friday before. I can put a link if anyone cares. I might actually retweet it again. Our regular week columnist on Fridays, Rob Fahy, wrote this really fantastic editorial about Animal Crossing's launch. And it was basically talking about how it's unfortunate for many reasons that it launched during a pandemic. One, because we're having a pandemic at all. But two, it's unfortunate that it launched at that particular time because even though it will do good money for Nintendo and all that other stuff, its success is very much going to be attributed probably from a business standpoint to COVID-19. And not due to the fact that Animal Crossing has been a franchise on the rise for years. Yeah, it was a weird-ass fucking game back on the GameCube. But New Leaf sold shit tons of copies, guys. I think it was, I can't remember, was it the best-selling game on the 3DS or one of?
It was up there. It was up there,
one of the best-selling games on the 3DS. It was insanely popular. It was such a popular game. And the demand for a new Animal Crossing has been that we were waiting since, I think, 2012 or 2013. Derek, what?
12 million units?
Yes!
I did not realize Animal Crossing New Leaf.
Wow.
I knew it moved a lot.
I didn't realize it sold that much either.
Yes!
Million.
It's so popular. And here's the other thing. So multiple things, right? Like, so one, that many units. Two, if I remember right, I'm probably talking out of my ass a little bit, but I think it had one of the highest attachment rates with women that any game on the 3DS had. And so it was very much a thing that sold units across gender lines and got, women playing on the system and doing other things. And so presumably it's selling Switch and Switch Lite units to more women than just the Switch. Like, I assume the attach rate has shifted on the Switch with Animal Crossing as well, because a lot of people were probably waiting for this. And also we were waiting, for years for this game, and there was a huge demand for Animal Crossing. So I think we will see kind of an attribution to COVID-19 for what I can only presume will be just wild sales of this game. But that's a bummer, one, because it's a pandemic, and two, because, it might not have sold quite as many units, because I know that I have, just anecdotally, I have friends who are picking it up, because everybody seems into it and they have nothing else to do, so they may as well. But I think it still would have sold a shit ton of copies, guys. It's a big game.
Yeah, well, and like Animal Crossing now is up there with Zelda and Mario and Mario Kart as one of Nintendo's premier franchises. Like, I don't think anybody is going to argue against that after this. So I wanted to move on to Davionne. So again, Davionne Gooden, the developer of She Dreams Elsewhere. Something I have been very excited about for quite some time. I've played the demo multiple times. I played it again at PAX East. I know that all of us probably have a few questions for Davionne, and Davionne, if it's all right with you, if anybody in chat has a good question for Davionne as well, we can take those later.
Of course.
But Davionne, so how long have you been working on She Dreams Elsewhere? I know it's been a while.
About 4.5 years too long.
Wow. So like, what inspired you to actually start Studio Zevere and take you down this path? Like where did this all start for you?
So I started making games when I was in 5th grade, which is like around the time when like the Zevere name came around. Because I was like my young dumbass kid self, and had like these fake studio names I would make, and Zevere Interactive was one of them. So yeah, started making games 5th grade. All of them were pretty shitty. We don't talk about them nowadays. But it was around high school when I was like, hey, game dev, that could be kind of like an actual good career path, I guess. So around freshman years when I started wanting to like make like my first like commercial game. So I had like a few like prototypes and like concepts kicking around, none of which like really went anywhere. Because it was like that cycle of like, you're working on one thing and it's like, oh, I have a new idea. Let me work on that for a little bit. I'll come back to you in a little bit, but for right now, let me work on the big shiny new idea. And it was kind of like a loop of that for like a good few years. And She Dreams came around my senior year of high school, and it almost went on that loop too. But then I was like, this premise is like way too good to just kind of like just let go like that. So I kept working on it. And as the years went on, I kind of like became a lot more serious about it, like, being full time, having like an actual LLC, doing actual marketing, yada yada. And yeah, just the rest is history, I guess.
And Finn, go ahead, buddy.
So, I mean, we talked about this at PAX, but I'd love for this story to be told again for our listeners, because you had such an amazing journey of going to trade shows like PAX and just showing the game off on your phone to where you are now with being picked up by Microsoft and what was it? Oh God, I'm blanking on the name. The publisher indie people.
Whitethorn?
No, dang it. Belinda used to be part of it.
Oh, Papagenda.
Yes.
Papagenda, yeah.
I was blanking on the name. I don't know why. But yeah, so please, can you walk us through like how you went from just a developer making a game on your own to like, because you pretty much sold yourself.
Yeah, it's like, honestly, that's a question where I'm like still trying to like wrap my head around. But I have a very, very educated guess. So yeah, I started working on the game a few years ago. And I'll like share kind of like some screenshots and like just little snippets like online like every once in a while. But it was around September 2018 when I went to like my first like actual expo. I was like with like this group called the Cleveland Game Developers. So we all like went down to Columbus. Just like a bunch of us like showing off our games, like this one little like booth space. And I had like the very end of like this like small like little like table. And yeah, that was like the first like showcase of the game. And from there, it was just kind of like going through events like every like few months or so, showing it off. And at the end of that year, I released a demo online. And after that happened, it was just like this huge, just like blow of like just people like checking out the game, like the reception and all that stuff. And then I went to GDC a few months later for the first time, and then just like blew up even more. Yeah, so ever since then, it's just been kind of like this, like kind of gradually like increasing snowball, just like pressure and expectations and attention, and just like I honestly like I don't know what I'm doing, but like
all evidence to the contrary.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm making it work as best I can.
So, dude, like when I saw you at PAX East 2020, there was a ton of people wanting to play She Dreams Elsewhere. Like, how does that hit you? Like, at what point are you like, this is real and happening to me right now? I'm at one of the largest gaming conventions in the world, and everybody wants to play my game. Like, how do you react all of a sudden to all this? I mean, all this attention, basically.
It's really weird. Like, so when you're like in the moment, like at the actual show floor, it's just kind of like, oh, there's like a line around.
I think we lost you.
Did we lose Davionne?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Oh, we lost him.
Oh no.
Davionne, we lost you, buddy.
I don't know if
We'll
you
get
can
him
hear
back.
us.
We'll get him back.
We'll get him back. So, guys, how about those Cubs? Oh, never mind. They're not playing anything. There's no baseball.
Yeah, there's no such thing as sports anymore, John.
Wow.
There's
Oh,
Davionne.
hey, there we go.
There's Davionne. Now
Wait, did I cut off? Oh,
You
did,
cut off.
yeah.
I'm sorry, bud.
awkward.
So we lost you right when you were talking about how you were thinking, oh, there's just a lot of people here in general.
Right. Oh yeah, I just got your text in the Discord. Anyway, yeah, it's when you're like again, when you're at that show floor, it's just like, oh, there's a lot of people, it's a good time, like whatever. And then like you go back to the hotel room, or like kind of you have that reflective moment of like, oh shit, there's like people who like actually like this game and like who have like actual attention, and it's great, but it's also absolutely terrifying. So yeah, it's kind of a fun little balance to take into account.
So I think we've talked a lot about kind of the story of you kind of getting this ball rolling. But for people out there who aren't familiar with She Dreams Elsewhere,
That's a good question.
hit them with that pitch. What is it in a nutshell?
All right, let me tell you about it, kids. It's
Here we go.
She Dreams Elsewhere is a surreal adventure RPG. Basically, you're playing Nostalgia. You're in a coma. You gotta find out, oh shit, how'd I get in a coma? How do I wake up? How do I find my friends? What is happening here? And you gotta do that while finding out how you got there and finding out how to a way to wake up and just kind of having a horrible, trippy experience the entire time.
Wait, what's that? Are you saying there's a free demo available on Steam right now?
Devin, did you say that? Did you just say that?
Oh my god, there's a free demo out? Oh,
Yeah, apparently
what?
there is. Like I don't know. You could download it on Steam right now. It's holy shit.
And wait,
Like,
what's
wow.
that? You can pet the dog?
You can pet the dog. Oh my god.
Yeah,
And you feel better when you pet the dog.
I'm so glad Finn brought that up. When I played it at PAX East 2020, the save point was a dog, and it was so fucking good. Like it was so good, Davionne. Dude, that's the best fucking save point I've ever seen in an RPG.
Oh, you
Since
got
like
it.
Final Fantasy IX.
That's really
Since
good.
Final Fantasy IX with the Moogles that would like throw the book down and be like, all right, time to write down your adventures. Like, dude, petting a fucking dog to save your game is exactly what we need in 2020. That is awesome.
Actually, I do have a very technical question. Is the demo, is the free demo the same one that I played at East? Because if it's not, I'm gonna go play another demo.
It's so the East one was like the second half of like the full online demo.
Okay.
And the full online one is like it has more like the narrative elements, the character building, all that fun stuff.
Honestly, I'd play it again just to hear the dang bops.
Oh, the music is great. And the
Speaking
enemy
of-
design is
Yeah, shout out Mimi.
Shout out to Mimi.
I love like I think you were actually the first demo I had at East this year, and I love like the deep self-consciousness I get when playing demos I get excited about, because I start like depending on what it is, I'll be like laughing, or I'll be like, if it's like a horror game, I'll be like yelling. But in your case, I was sitting there like at the demo station just like, yeah, I was just like bopping, like I started tapping my foot, and like my whole body just started bopping.
Wait.
And I'm like, this is great.
Did Mimi
And
do
I was like, he's got to be looking at me like, what the fuck is her problem?
No,
and
I
I'm
love
like, oh
it.
god, I have to interview him in a second. I look like a moron.
Is Mimi the one who did the music?
Yes.
Yes, she is.
Wow.
Mimi
Mimi,
And-
it's a straight bop. It's
Yeah.
so
Amazing
good.
work.
Love
Shout out
Mimi.
to Mimi in chat.
Is she in
We're
chat?
gonna have to get
She is
Mimi
in
on
chat.
here later because I want to talk about. I want to talk about like.
I don't know if you have this idea, and you don't have to tell me if you do, but like if you guys were thinking of like selling the soundtrack separately or like putting it on
Oh,
Spotify, I'd fucking throw down money for that.
buy
We
this
got
shit
you.
out
We
of it.
got you.
I would.
Gotta.
I'd buy this
Just
shit out of
saying.
it.
Saying.
So Davionne, can you talk about some of the inspirations behind this game? Like, and now we're starting to get into not just the visual design of the game, but the combat itself, because there's a lot you're drawing from.
Yeah, it I take from like pretty much anything and everything. So like obviously there's like stuff like, games like, Earthbound, Persona, Off, Life is Strange, like a whole, a lot of games in there. But honestly, like most of my inspiration like comes from just like movies, music, and like just TV. So yeah, just stuff like BoJack Horseman, Atlanta, like anything by David Lynch, like
Oh, David.
like
Lynch,
I'm all
yeah.
about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I had honestly the whole concept of you're in a coma. Like I hadn't even thought about like the David Lynch Twin Peaks vibes there, but now that you do that, now that you mention that, it completely makes sense. That's awesome.
Yeah, I've just always been like super attracted to like his work, where it's just like that super surreal, like you don't know what the fuck is happening, and like
yeah,
he does it in like just such this like unique way. Like, David Lynch, just
Yeah.
perfect.
One of the things I love about She Dreams Elsewhere is visually, like, it's funny to bring up David Lynch because it doesn't really visually remind me of that, but it gives me kind of a similar emotional, like, the visual style is very heavily secondary colors and blacks. Like, which is a very weird, dreamlike kind of aesthetic, which, fitting enough with the theme of the game. But yeah, it gives that very kind of like just mildly detached, like, it's a really unique, really cool look to the game. It's very
you
instantly
must tell
recognizable.
them. You must tell them how you got that look, because you told me at East. And
Oh
it was
yes,
very funny.
please,
Oh?
please, Davionne.
Well, so with all that being said, the black and white art aspect, that was 100% an accident. So I was like making like enemy art one day, like early on in development, and that was like back when like everything was like super colorful, cartoony, all that stuff. Um, so yeah, pressed the wrong button in Photoshop, made everything black and white. And I was like, yeah, that's pretty fucked up, but that goes hard. That's the game now. And yeah, it's like kind of developed it from there. Like I've always been a huge fan of like just black and white in general. Like if
Yeah.
you go on like my Instagram page, like my personal one, there's like a lot of like black and white photos that I take. So that was like 100% like up my alley. So
Well, and you know what? That honestly, like, given the surrealistic tone of the game itself, like that honestly makes sense. I think that's a good artistically. I think that was probably the right choice. Because playing the game with that minimalistic, color scheme, I actually it really delivered the feeling of being like, living in my own head, like being in a comatose state, walking through a dream world. It lent a weight to the world that I think it absolutely needs, and I think is absolutely crucial to the game itself. And there's a lot of Earthbound references in there as well. Primarily, like the combat. Like as soon as the combat started up, I was like, "This is wow!" I was like, I love Earthbound, so I already fucking know I'm gonna love this. And but like as far as combat goes, it's not just Earthbound. Like there's some Persona in there too.
yeah, like the thing I love about Persona's battle system, and I played 3 and 4. I've yet to play 5, but what I've always loved, it's like if I start it right now, like I'm not gonna get anything done. So but yeah, what I loved about Persona is that it's so, at its core, it's still like pretty simple, but it has that depth towards like not like you're not just like hitting like the attack button like throughout the entire game. Like there's actual like strategy like still involved. Um, so I've always just like kind of loved that whole aspect of it, but like still like kind of still want to do my own thing with it too. Um, so I don't know, my whole like design like mentality is just like simple to learn, easy to master, essentially, and that's what I really liked about Dragon Quest too, where because that's where I really like got like I really kind of like honed my own like personal like simple RPG mechanics, like how I kind of played them. Um, so yeah, I'm all about like easy, simple shit in general.
So, from a length perspective, and after this, I want to kick it to the question. Like like when you're talking about content, and length, like what are you looking at? Like how long can we expect it to actually last for?
So I'm estimating it to be like 5 to 7 hours for like the main story, and then 10 to 12 for 100%.
Okay.
But I've also like noticed that like whenever I'm doing playtesting, I tend to like underestimate how long certain things will take. So I don't know. I'll be like, oh yeah, you can complete the section in like 15 minutes, and then they'll be there for like half an hour. So I don't know. Who knows?
Who else has got a question for Davionne? And by the way, if you're in chat, throw some questions out there. We'll ask me to Davionne. Finn. Oh, sorry, Finn and then Reb. I didn't see Reb's hand.
No, Reb first. I already asked a couple.
Okay, Finn, Reb, please go ahead.
I mean, you and I kind of talked about this, but we should talk about it again.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, the thing that struck me when I was playing it is that it's not at least in the demo, it's not a happy game. Like, even before you really get into the nuts and bolts of like, kind of what's going on with the main character and why she's there and what's happening, you notice like all of her attacks are based on being angry and frustrated and just having kind of these pent up emotions. And then you get further into it and you realize that she just came from a party where shit did not go her way. She has some complicated relationships with her friends, and she has some complicated relationships with herself. And as you pick up more party members, they all kind of have their own frustrations and agitations too. And it's very real. I mean, most games deal with that. We're not living in a society where we tell stories that are boring and no one has any complexity. But this game, right from the get-go, like has some very kind of dark moments. And there's one in particular in the demo that comes up that's very, very specifically dark and like deals with kind of the depths of depression and how people sort of envision that. I guess how it. I'm losing a word here, but I guess how it sort of comes across. So I guess I don't know. Talk about that. Like why was that important to you to convey, and why was it important to you to convey in the way that you did?
Yeah, like our generation is like very, especially like what's like with what's going on right now. Like you tend to see like you go on Twitter or everything like that, and like we had this horrible serious situation, but like we're kind of like laughing throughout it. Like not laughing at the situation, but just like it's kind of our way of coping.
Yeah.
and going back to that whole like BoJack Horseman Atlanta type of comparison, like that show is really great at being like very very jokey, like very hilarious, but also like it has like those super like real moments, and it's very detailed in the way like like characters interact with each other. So I think like just taking like those little things and like just playing those seeds a little bit, and then like as the game goes on, you kind of like see those layers kind of like peeled back, like what the characters like actually like, what are they actually going through. So yeah, it's been a complicated thing to kind of figure out and kind of like find like that like the right balance. But I don't know. I'm trying my best.
Aren't we all?
That's really all
That's
you
a
can
universal
ask.
fucking statement right now. Finn, you had a question.
I did, but it ended up inadvertently being answered by Reb. So instead, I'll ask my definitely real question of so after this game releases, how long until you start working on She Dreams Elsewhere?
Man, I hate you so much. Like,
I'm leaving this car right now. It's over.
I don't.
Yeah.
I'll turn that into a real question. When you and I were talking, and even just kind of in this call, like you're solo. I mean, you're not entirely solo, right? Like you've got Mimi, you've got a couple contract people helping you out, but largely you're making this game, you know, kind of in a vacuum by yourself. And you talk when you talk to me, and I'm publishing a bit of an interview with Davionne tomorrow on gamesindustry.biz, so you should go read it. But aside from that, you know, you've talked about how it's hard being by yourself and making games, and I guess I was curious, like, would you want to keep doing that, or would you want to like seek out other people and like form a team or find a team after this?
That's actually a really good question because I've been thinking about that like a lot these past few weeks. So I think for games especially, like I'll probably like do like another like solo project, but like in a smaller scale, just like more for fun. But for the next like I guess like big boy project, like there's no way I'm doing it solo like ever again. Like
Yeah.
ever again. Yeah, it's a lot. But that's also like, and that's like saying if like I do game number two, because I do want to go back to film. I do want to do like TV stuff for like a little bit. So I don't know. The timeline's kind of weird right now. I definitely do want to go back to getting in the games. Do want to have a team. When that's gonna happen is a completely different question, but we'll figure it out.
Derek, did you want to ask a question for Blaine?
Yeah. Friend of the show, Blaine Anderson in chat, who is probably going to be checking out your demo after this, because they're in love with what they saw on the store page. But they're curious if you are familiar with or were at all inspired by the game Yume Nikki.
Oh, of course. That's one of the classic like RPG Maker games, one of the classic indie games.
Yeah.
Like I love the whole mysterious vibe that game had.
Yeah.
So yeah, very much so.
Cool. I'm glad we could get that answer. There we go.
I've got a question, Davionne, and I asked this at PAX East, but I'm going to ask it again. Switch port when?
Oh, I wouldn't know, man. I don't play video games. I don't even know why I'm here. I just wandered in here, just chilling.
I want to take this game wherever I go. So I just throwing it out there. But do you have like a tentative release date in mind?
I do. It's gotten a little bit shifted because like this recent virus shit show, but definitely 2020. When? Stay tuned.
When it's done.
Yes.
It'll be released when it's done.
Actually, sorry, random business question that I didn't get to ask you at East because it wasn't a problem at East.
Yeah.
Is this like I mean, you are like by sitting in your place, I presume, by yourself working on this. Like you're not getting kicked out of a giant studio you were working in. Has this like impacted your development in any sort of like I guess like development or economic way?
Workflow wise, not really. Like, you know, I can pretty much like work wherever, and like all my like collaborators like are remote anyway. Mentally wise, it's like it's like taking like a huge hit. Yeah. So yeah, I've actually been taking like a break from development like these past like 2 weeks, just you know, chilling, kind of trying to refocus a little bit. Because it's just like a huge just like shift in just like life, and it didn't hit me until like a few days after Ohio went into shelter in place. And usually I work out of a co-working space, which is like super dope. Like it's not like a gaming oriented space, but like there's like a lot of like good coworkers here, a lot of like good friends, and also structure, which is really important. and like in the blink of an eye, like all of that was just gone. So it's been hard to adjust to that. Plus, just like collaborators and like other people I work with, just like emails and communication have been like a lot more dicey these past few weeks. Like it's slowly starting to get back up, but everybody's kind of adjusting, which is like kind of the good and bad part of it all, because like we're all in this together. So
yeah, I was kind of saying something on the last episode of the show last week, but like this is a time period where more than ever we're consuming the media and art that is put out there, because we both have more time and we need the distraction more than ever. But like the way this is impacting artists and creatives, both from a standpoint of being able to work together and just the impact on your mental health. Because like you said, if the impact on your mental health will affect your productivity. And it's funny you bring up like literally emails are not coming and as often or getting responded to as quickly, because like every one of us everywhere in every job, we're all just right now. And like I think I'd like to hope that we come out the other side of this with a little bit more respect and understanding for what our artists and our creators go through, and what they need from us in order to create the stories and the content that we desire so badly. So I thank you for kind of bringing that aspect of it up on how the mental health impacts your own productivity, because I think that's really important for people to hear.
You are also absolutely not the first game developer to tell me that. I have talked to multiple people over the last couple of weeks where when I asked them, how this is impacting them, I mean, there have been some economic impacts, but for the most part, the games industry is economically doing okay for now, but the mental impact is awful, because this is awful, and it's fucking everybody up, and yeah, I don't know. Only good thoughts at you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I remember I sat down to write like before I even took my break, and the entire day just nothing came out. I just I just straight up just couldn't do anything. So it's slowly coming back to me, like just one day at a time. But yeah, we're all trying to make it work as best we can, really.
Yeah.
So Davionne, if people wanted to find you or Studio Zevere on Twitter, where would they look? Where are you?
I am
know where
at Studio Zevere, Zevere on Twitter and Instagram. If you want to find me personally, that's just my name at Davionne Gooden, also on Twitter and Instagram. I post pictures sometimes whenever the fuck I actually take them, which hasn't been recently, but they're coming.
Well, I got to tell you, if you have not played the demo for She Dreams Elsewhere, it is on Steam right now. You go download that. This has become one of my most anticipated games this year. I fell in love with it from the moment I played it, and I have been following the progress of this game very closely. I
am going to stop playing Animal Crossing for this.
Yes, like I am.
That's a huge compliment, actually. Wow.
No, it's meant to be. I have a backlog of like 3 or 4 other games that I really want to be playing right now, but I'm not playing them because of Animal Crossing. But I'm going to put this down. I'm going to put Animal Crossing down when She Dreams Elsewhere comes around.
Yeah, take that, Tom Nook. Was good.
Yeah.
Actually, I did have one more question for Davionne, if you don't mind.
No. Yes.
So I thought it was super interesting and really refreshing that I haven't heard this mentioned yet. Every single player, if I'm not mistaken, every player character in this game is a person of color.
Yes, sir, indeed.
And I was curious, how much of yourself did you pour into this game? We've talked about, your influences from other games, other areas of the industry, but how much of what influences is this game pulling from Davionne?
Yeah, what percentage of the game is autobiographical?
Probably like 100%. More like 90, really. So every character has some kind of aspect of me, either positive or negative, if not both. And just also just based off of personal experiences, either my own experience with mental health, or helping out others, or them telling me, or just stuff like that. And a lot of those conversations, both the dark ones and just the super off the cuff random funny ones. That's all just just me talking with my friends, really. So I've always been just a personal guy.
The dialogue was super how people actually talk, which was great.
It was extremely well written. I noticed that too, Red.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it's a hard balance because sometimes when you try and write real dialogue, it comes off as
you're trying to
very authentic.
Yeah.
And you
Here
just
come the memes, friend.
Yeah.
There's a
hello, fellow kid.
How do you do, fellow gamers? It is
there's a line between, and also like even when you're in it, like there's a line between like Scott. Why am I blanking on his last name? Night in the Woods.
Oh
Scott
God,
Benson. Thank you.
Yeah,
there's a line between Scott Benson and like Diablo Cody. You know what I mean? Like you know.
Yeah, no, it's
fellow gamers.
Yeah, I always try to make things like as like naturalistic as possible, but like early in development, it was like a little bit too far, where like it was too naturalistic to where it's just kind of like every character being like, "Hey, how are you? Oh, I'm good. You know, how are you?" Like doing that whole type of that little bit.
Right.
So there's like that balance of like being natural and casual, but also like just getting to the point. So yeah, it's something I'm still kind of like working around nowadays. And then they'll kind of like piggyback off the memes thing, where it's like some people they call it like memes, but then like like me being here, if like like I have like a lot of my friends, and like a lot of my friends are people of color, and I'm just like that's just kind of like how we talk. It's just like our slang, like just super casual. So it's always just fun to kind of like see like the different reactions to all that.
That was one of the things that struck me the multiple times that is that the dialogue is not only well but extremely genuine, and it sounds like let's forget the fact for a minute that everybody's in a coma right now. It sounds like it sounds like people, right? It sounds like people. It sounds like a conversation. Like it just sounds like a manner of speaking that I would hear walking down the street. And it came across as very genuine and very real. And there's just so much I appreciate about this game, and I am so happy that you agreed to come here and talk with us about it. Big thank you to Finn also for helping us to get Davionne on.
I still got the sake, by the way. It's great.
Yeah. You're one of the very few proud owners of a son of sake, and I'm just happy you enjoyed it.
I was so happy when they came up to me and we were like, it was like the third or fourth day of PAX or whatever, and we were like, I was asking them like who they had given sakes to, and they mentioned that they were going to give you one, and I was really happy because like I go there for GI Biz, I don't go there for SDGC, and so I don't give out sakes, and like we don't give out our own rewards, and I was like yes. I have no control over that, but I'm like yes.
No, we're not
so nice.
We're not kind enough.
There's just something so rare about a game like yours. It just comes out and hits all the right chords and checks all the boxes of what I didn't even know I wanted to play. And I cannot wait to just get my hands on the full thing. So hurry up. I guess is what I'm saying.
All right, yeah, game. We're finishing the game tonight. I have until midnight.
Can't you just check the publish button? It's not hard.
Just
rush perfection.
Slam back a monster like a real gamer.
Pound that energy. Pound that game fuel, Davionne.
Well, I will send you a crate of game fuel. And we'll be fine.
And
She Dreams Elsewhere, sponsored by Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
Sponsored by
Write out that codes.
Actually, you could ask Reb about her favorite flavor of Bang. Was it Bang?
Yeah, it was Bang.
Yeah, there you go.
What's your favorite flavor?
What is your favorite flavor?
God, that's a question. Why are we asking me about that? Like,
I don't know, because Finn asked it.
My favorite flavor of Bang is the water I drink afterwards to wash it away.
I don't know why we're asking.
This is an extreme. I know this is an extreme tangent. The reason why he brought this up is because my local friend Zach Zweeson is the weekend editor for Kotaku. He did a massive review of 19 different flavors of Bang energy drink. He invited me and a few other friends over to help him with this. We tried every single one of 19 flavors of Bang energy drink. It was a very bad decision. Probably I don't have them up right now. Probably the whichever one is the apple one, and then there's like a lemon one that tastes like Sprite.
Crisp.
Oh, and then there's like a
Sour
mango
apple
peach
crisp.
that was pretty good. Those are the three that were good. The rest were I wouldn't buy them.
After 19 energy drinks, Reb was the most exuberant she's ever been.
Honestly, no. I was very weird. I don't recommend it. So we wwere safe. We only drank like a little sip of each one. Like I ended up drinking probably the equivalent of a can and a half of energy drink total. So it sounds ridiculous, but it wasn't quite that bad. But I was like driving home and I wasn't like intoxicated or anything, but I was having trouble following the signs on the highway.
Were you like dissociating behind the wheel?
I mean, a little bit. I was calling my boyfriend at the time and I was trying to talk to him. And normally I'm like capable of driving in a direction and talking to somebody on like a Bluetooth headset. And it just was not happening. I started driving in like there's a part where the highway I have to go north to get home, and I just got on the southbound for some reason and just drove south for like 10 minutes and was like, I don't actually think this is right. And then turned around and drove back. It was very stupid. Don't drink that much energy. Don't drink Bang Energy. The CEO is a giant Trump supporter.
Yeah.
I found that out after the fact.
Good
I've
to
got
know.
this mental picture of Imran just on the phone. Like, have you been drinking Bang Energy and driving? like so irresponsible.
Don't bang and drive, kids.
Oh, Finn. All right. Anyway, Davionne, thank you so much for talking about She Dreams Elsewhere with us. Very excited about this. We've got one more. We got another topic to talk about.
Yeah.
And this is a wholesome one. So, Derek, why don't you launch us into our follow-up topic?
Sure. So give me a moment here. So the new PlayStation 5 controller, the DualSense, as Sony is calling it, was revealed. It's a very sensual name, except not at all. Was revealed, and there was much discourse. About the design, because originally they only revealed the two-tone white and black, which I love, and most of the internet hates.
I love it so much.
And they later revealed that there's a solid white and a solid black, so we all yelled for nothing. But what was really interesting was there was a lot of discussion about a lot of people talking about what they wanted from the ergonomics of the controller, what kind of port it used to charge. Was it micro USB or USB-C? Did it have the headphone jack? I saw people talking about accessibility and whether or not buttons should be colored. I saw people talking about the pebbled texture on the back of the grips and the size and length of the grips, and offset sticks versus matched sticks, which, like, a lot of people talking about, like, what they wanted, what they liked and disliked about the controller. So we've all yelled about the DualSense. It's fine. The PS4 controller had a child with an Xbox One controller. We get it. I would like for us to talk about controllers in general. What are, for you all, examples of good and bad game controllers, and what makes a good controller? I think let's start with the good stuff, and then we can save off a little bit of dunking for the end, because that's always really fun. Reb, it seems like you really want to go
Reb's
first.
got something she wants to say.
What's a controller you love, and what makes a good controller for you?
Guys, the GameCube controller is so nice.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
I love it. I love it. And it's so hard. One of you articulate why you love it, because I don't know. I think at least some of it comes from it being the fact that the GameCube was the very first console that I ever owned personally. But it has never felt uncomfortable for me. And I think here is my hot take about gaming controllers in general, is that I wish they made every gaming controller in a couple different sizes. One for people with tiny hands like me, and one for people with large hands, because everyone else is complaining about the Joy-Cons and how small they are, and they're perfect for me, but I understand why they're not perfect for other people. But then I like play on other controllers and I'm like, this is too fucking big, I can't reach all these buttons. Anyway, the GameCube controller was like the perfect size for my hands, and the buttons were squishy and felt really good. And I know people rag on the C-Stick, but I really liked the C-Stick. Anyway, GameCube controller, fuck yes, just give me more of those.
The inside, I loved the fact, and people can disagree with me all they want, but the inside of the stick was edged. It wasn't round.
Oh, it was, yeah. That was good.
And that is something that honestly I wish would come back, because it made it so much easier to pinpoint which direction you wanted to go, which is why it was so good for like Smash Brothers, for example, right? Like there's a reason they brought this back for the Switch for Smash Brothers Ultimate, because the inside, the polygon, it's almost like a hexagon, right, Reb?
Yeah.
But yeah,
One,
but
two, three,
but
four,
I
five,
wish edge, something like that, yeah. But it was edge. It had very distinct corners. And I wish that would come back in modern controllers because it made playing with a thumbstick so much more precise. And that is something that I loved about the GameCube controller. Davionne, what about you, man?
I'm definitely on that GameCube hype train for sure. Like it's just so cozy to hold. Like it's just so satisfying.
Like you look at it and you're like, this is a disaster. But then you pick it up and you play with it and you're like, holy shit, it actually works.
Yep.
I don't believe it. Only Nintendo could have done this.
Only Nintendo.
So one of the funny things is one of the things that makes it like a disaster is how goofy and toyetic it looks.
It looks ridiculous.
But the thing is, everything about its design and the button design actually makes it so much more accessible. Whether that's in regards to like people who have executive disabilities or people who just are like new to gaming, because so many of the buttons are immediately recognizable based on shape, size, and color, right?
Yeah.
Look at those face buttons. A is big and round and green. B is smaller and red. Immediately, there's no other red button on the controller. There's no other green button on the controller. Which stick is it supposed to be? Well, one of them's gray and one of them's yellow. For your shoulder buttons, the L and R, obviously left and right, but then which one is it? Well, Z's the blue one. You know, X and Y are uniquely shaped and offset, so you can tell, even when they put it in like a dialogue box in Zelda, this one's the X button. Which one is it? It's the one that looks exactly like that when you look at a controller. Just like, in a way that we've really lost, and admittedly we like our nice, clean, modern, high-tech, very uniform look, but GameCube was so good for learning to game and not having to constantly double check if you were not somebody who was used to gaming.
I like controllers that look like play school toys, and I am being very sincere about that. I fucking do. Like, they are good, and for the exact reasons that Derek just outlined.
Well, here's the real
GameCube was
question.
like what N64 wanted to be.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. I hate the controller.
We can all agree that the GameCube controller was good, and was definitely not appreciated in its time as much as it should have been. But what was your color of choice? Because that, I feel like, should be its own BuzzFeed personality quiz.
Like,
what GameCube color controller are you?
I mean, classic purple, obviously.
Right.
I mean, I like to be color coded.
Is the closest I could get to that N64 atomic purple that I'm just that was my Nintendo 64 controller, and it was my first Game Boy. Were both atomic purple.
Is
I have been chasing that high for the whole rest of my life since, and I've never caught back up to it.
This is very funny of me because I no longer, I was bitching on Twitter just the other day about how every new controller and every new like console that comes out is like either black or white, and it's very boring to me and I hate it. But I actually had the black GameCube and the black controller, and the reason I had those is because literally everybody that had a GameCube everybody that I knew that had a GameCube had the purple one, and I wanted to be different.
You wanted to stand apart from the crowd.
I did.
I had the orange one. I went orange. I don't know.
I don't think orange was because it was just black and purple at launch, right?
Yes, I mean I had the purple, but then the first one I bought on my own, because it's a GameCube, you had to eventually get 4 controllers.
Yeah.
But also shout out to the GameCube for bringing us the Wavebird, which was the gold standard of wireless controllers for so long.
Yep. I think we had to hit the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 era before wireless controllers. Like, and even then, like, dude, Wavebird felt so good.
Oh.
So I actually have a submission for one of the best controllers of all time. In fact, I would argue it best controller of all time.
Get ready to disagree.
Patience. The Xbox adaptive controller.
Well, see, now I'm literally and legally not allowed to disagree with you. I'm pretty sure.
Because the Xbox adaptive controller, which was a collaboration between Able Gamer, our friend Steven Spawn, and Xbox, has allowed so many people, because like one of the biggest problems with this industry, both on the development side and on the actual gameplay side, has been ableism. There are just a lot of games that disabled gamers have not traditionally been able to enjoy. But a lot of that has honestly changed with the Xbox Adaptive Controller. It's one of the most progressive things I've seen this industry do. And the time and attention and the care that went into designing this thing, like, props to Able Gamers for making it happen, and props to Xbox for taking it so seriously. Because some of my favorite, like, we all talk about the moments that define a generation, like, and people talk about games, right? People talk about God of War, people talk about Gears of War, people talk about Call of Duty. But for me, some of the most defining images from this generation of games has been young disabled children, disabled people of any age, being able to pick up a controller and play and play something, some of them for the first time. And that is just so heartwarming to me. Gaming should be for everybody. Nobody should be locked out from playing what they want to play. And I just think that the Xbox Adaptive Controller is one of the biggest strides this industry has ever taken. Derek?
I saw there was a Twitter post making the rounds not long ago of somebody who was in a wheelchair and severely mobility limited, who had a setup with their Xbox Adaptive Controller that was enabling them to play Animal Crossing on their Switch. And it was the first time they'd been able to play an Animal Crossing game, obviously, because it's the first time that they'd had that kind of accessibility input on a system. And I didn't even realize that you could use the Xbox Adaptive Controller to connect to a Switch. I don't know why I would have assumed one way or another, but it was just so cool to see, and it was so eye-opening of like how big that one peripheral is to opening gateways for different people's custom solutions to allow them to interface with gaming on their terms.
It's the little things, right? It's the little things. Like,
heartwarming.
It really is. Like, gaming is something that is very personal to me, very special to me. And I love when people are able to share in something that I love. And I have, Steve helped I used to be one of those needed an easy mode, but after learning that people were not able to physically play the game the way it existed, I'm now a strong advocate for something like that. And so things like the adaptive controller don't just help disabled gamers play, they also help educate people like me on the outside looking in who don't have to deal with these problems every day and are really quite privileged in many ways that I had really taken for granted up until recently. Finn, go ahead.
What?
I thought you had your hand up. I thought I saw your hand up.
No.
Okay. Davionne, what's a controller that you really love? Just a good, solid controller?
Honestly, I'm a huge fan of the Xbox One controller. Like, that's
a good pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I used to game on, like, pretty much anything that isn't, a Switch. But, yeah, it's just, like, the Xbox 360 controller was already, like, perfect in my eyes. But it was just, like, the added, like, headphone jack and the redesigned D-pad just kind of, like, really perfected it out for me. So, yeah, Xbox, like, in general, is just, like, making, like, huge strides and just, like, accessibility, just good controllers.
So, like, are you talking the 360 controller, the Xbox One controller?
Really, both.
Like, both of them. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The one's a great controller. The only things I would even do to it is I love the PlayStation 4 having the headphone and headset jack on the controller. If I could throw that on an Xbox One controller and give it like gyroscope, so you have the option for that stuff in some games. Only changes I would make. Xbox One is so close to perfect for like a standard controller.
I think the Switch Pro controller is up there too. To be perfectly honest with you,
That's
like Switch Pro, it just.
Okay, look, let's just back up here a little bit.
Oh, okay.
The Switch Pro controller is fine. There is nothing wrong with the Switch Pro controller. At this point, we are just listing controllers that do the basic things the controllers are supposed to do. If it has two sticks and 4 buttons and a couple triggers and then some other thing, it's a controller. Like, we have been using the same model for controllers for a really long time.
Well, you say that, but like the PlayStation 4's controller is garbage despite having every fefeature.
Whoa!
It's a bad controller, Finn.
Whoa! No!
What's that big dumb thing in the middle? What does it do? Does anyone know?
It's the touch
love
pad?
the DualShock 4 so much.
It's so bad to hold. The battery
No,
life
you
is
were
like
wrong.
7
I'm
minutes.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry that you're wrong.
It lights up for no reason.
It must be wrong
Because it's
to
cool.
be so wrong. Yes,
Awesome,
it is.
Brad.
I
Cool.
love every dumb feature on the DualShock. I love clicking that dumb thumb pad or touch pad to open up a map because it always goes straight to map. Doesn't
All
matter.
right.
It's
all
just
right.
a replacement
I-
for
I-
I
select.
hereby for the evening.
Hold on, because I was never even asked about my controller.
Fair.
Everyone
Okay.
skipped Matthew.
Finn,
So
you were next. Finn,
Matthew.
Finn is playing with
No,
fire.
no,
What
Finn,
the
please.
fuck is Matthew?
every single time the PlayStation, it's such an underrated feature and so unnecessary, and I love it so much. The built-in speaker, and when a game talks to you through the controller, I fucking love it. It
You remember when the Wii
automatically
remote first did
elevates
that?
every game. Yeah, and it elevates every game that
This
does
game
it. I
has
believe
this controller has an unnecessary feature, therefore it's the best.
I love it. The
I have
first time I
never heard
experienced
anybody passionately defend
The-
much.
The first
Right.
time I experienced it was Infamous Second Son when the controller started speaking to you, or like
Thin
when it,
voice.
oh my god, I love it. I love it
Now
so much.
look.
I have picked games to play on PlayStation over Xbox because I enjoy the DualShock controller better than the Xbox controller. I don't like offset sticks.
Now look here.
There, I
Now
said it.
look
That's
here.
a spicy hot take,
Now
my man.
look
Yeah,
here.
that's.
I
some-
am,
some-
for the
some zest
remainder
on it.
of the evening, revoking John's Bad Take King title and giving it to Finn for the rest of the evening.
The only difference
ridiculous.
is
Who wants
this
to
Why
is
do you
on-
have so many bad video game opinions tonight? You're up to 3. Cool it.
wait, what's my third one?
Hold on. Final Fantasy is bad.
And
Animal
I never
Crossing
said
is
bad. I never said it was
You
bad.
said it wasn't great, and it is great.
Yes,
That's a bad.
no, it's good.
I don't even
Finn.
like Final Fantasy 7. I
Okay.
agree with you, and I still think it's a
Okay.
bad take.
Derek, give us a bad controller.
Look, so first off, if we're gonna talk about bad controllers,
We got to talk about.
I gotta
that.
take the freebie, which is the Nintendo 64 controller.
That's an easy one.
I mean, that's an easy one.
It's well, right, but I'm getting that off the way so the rest of you can be creative, right? So
It's bad.
Nintendo 64 controller, we don't have 3 hands. Somebody needs to find the diagram of how Jeff holds the Nintendo 64
Oh, that
controller.
was funny. And
Oh,
where
yeah.
is
It
that?
is
Somebody needs to
nonsense.
pull that up.
Did
That's
someone
like-
have that?
We'll find it and we'll post
I'm like,
it.
Jeff, this is why you have carpal tunnel.
I'll find it
Jeff.
while someone
Like,
else is talking, but I will find it.
That was very
the
funny.
the original Xbox controller, way too big.
Duke.
I
The
have
Duke.
giant Sasquatch hands. I can wrap a lot of people's hands in my hands. The Duke controller's too fucking
Dude,
big.
You could use the Duke controller to anchor a fucking schooner, or
Yeah,
schooner.
it's-
Like, yeah, no, that's a
I'm-
ship anchor. It's not a
look,
controller.
man. I'm just saying, you had a lot of bears out there who looked at that controller and were just like, "Nah, dude, that's unnecessary. It doesn't need to be that big." But yeah, so like take those two off the table. I
look,
got
dude.
them out of the way for you, and I'm gonna find Jeff's diagram and I'm gonna show it to
Please
people.
do. It's so good. I gotta throw the DualShock 4 out. Fit. I'm sorry. It's just a bad controller, dude. Like, the battery life is like an hour if it's not plugged into my. It feels like it's.
Oh
gonna
wow!
break
Look at
in my
John
big ol'
making
hands.
the most predictable jokes
Finn,
ever.
No, Finn. And I swear to God, dude, the touchpad. No games use the touchpad. Okay, that thing is like a plate for holding snacks. Okay, it's not a touchpad. Nobody
Point
uses it.
For holding.
All
this
right,
now.
There's
buddy.
no game that actually uses it. Finn.
Okay.
Name
buddy.
me a big game in the past 2 years that has used the touchpad for
Any of
anything
the
other than going to a
Assassin's
menu.
Creeds. Any of the Assassin's Creeds.
For what?
I loved it because every direction that you swiped on it, it would immediately brought you to a different part of the thing instead of having to go through your giant list of menus. If I swipe one way, skills. Swiped another way, map. Swipe one way, it went to something
You
else.
don't even know.
I'm gonna
Oh, I'm
suggest.
so sorry that I'm going off the top of my head.
I'm gonna suggest that this is a design flaw in Assassin's Creed and not a design perk of the DualShock 4.
Oh. I'm not even saying that the DualShock is the best controller. It's just not a terrible one. I'm sorry.
Hey, by the way, there it is in chat. Jared,
It's about a minute
how-
into that clip.
How
but
Jeff holds an
Jeff
N64
gave us a
controller.
diagram of how he placed
That
his hands
was
on those
funny
controller,
as-
and it's
Jeff!
it's-
I can't handle how dumb that was.
Jeff suffers
What?
from carpal tunnel,
It's-
and I'm like, Jeff, This is why. It's not because you type a lot. It's because this is how you.
He holds that controller in a non-Euclidean manner. Like,
Davionne, what's a really bad controller, Davionne? Give us like the bottom of the barrel for you.
All right, this might be low-key a hot take, but any mobile phone game that requires two hands.
Ooh.
Wait, those exist?
Okay.
yeah,
They do.
Oh yeah, they do.
Really?
Yeah, they sadly
elaborate.
exist. It's just
The
it
virtual
just feels so awkward.
joystick or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, any virtual joystick is just so awkward.
Give me an
to do.
example. Give me an example of what feels bad.
So like you're playing like Sonic on your phone for whatever fucking reason.
Oh,
Well, there's just a problem.
it's a shame because they're great ports with awful controls.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay, fair. Yeah, I'll give you that.
no, I would never play fucking Sonic on my mobile phone.
No,
Oh God, no.
No,
Jesus,
that's
Finn.
actually really funny, right? Because like mobile is exciting for design because it specifically has things that nothing else does, right? Like the whole fucking thing is a touchscreen. Like Angry Birds and similar were revolutionary because you could physically pull back on the bird and you shoot it at the pig, right? Like that's exciting. That's something people like to do apparently. It's very funny to see people try to translate average normal video game controls into mobile as if that's a thing that is going to work.
Yeah, I'm just like, why? Just give me a controller. Like, I'm good. Don't do all this extra shit. But that's just my hot take.
I don't think that's
not all
hot of
that
a
hot.
take.
That's pretty normal.
That's like a cold take. Finn's got his hand up.
Okay, so two things. One, because I never got to answer my own question. My favorite controller.
Come on, we haven't even gotten to me yet.
Then why did we switch to bad controllers? You brought up GameCube.
Chaos reigns.
We're just
I
jumping
never even
around,
got to
Finn.
say
You and the DualShock 4.
Finn,
That's
No,
tell us
no,
what
I
you
didn't.
love, and
All
then
I
tell us
did
what
was
you hate.
defend the DualShock.
Finn,
I
give
never
us
said
that
it was my
two-pack.
favorite.
Question, Finn.
All right.
Give us
all
the
right.
2-pack, man.
My favorite one is the Xbox One Elite. It is
Okay.
probably the best controller that I've ever played. It actually makes me like offset sticks.
Does it make
So
you a better
that's-
gamer?
No, because I'm terrible no matter what controller I have. And my least favorite is the DualShock 6-axis, or not even the DualShock, the 6-axis, the PlayStation 3. You want to talk about a controller with a because the DualShock 3 was good. They added in the rumble and everything. I'm talking the original,
Okay, you're right.
the original 6-axis where they're like, we can't have rumble, but instead you want to talk shitty features of a controller. You talk about that motion sensing.
The
that they
motion
try
back.
to,
Oh
Yeah.
man, do you remember
Where they-
Lair? Remember Lair?
I do remember Lair, and I remember it being forced into really good games and games I enjoyed. I remember having to use the motion sensing to stay balanced on a log in Uncharted and stuff like that. That was a bad controller, but then when they replaced it with the DualShock 3, it stopped being an issue. But the 6-axis as itself was terrible.
straight garbage.
Right up there with the
Straight
Wii U
garbage.
gamepad.
Remember them telling us that the 6-axis didn't have rumble, not because
Yes.
of the ongoing legal battle they were going through, but because it would interfere with the motion sensing, and then Nintendo with their Wii remotes is like, but we already announced both of those things. Like, why
And
is
then
this?
later when the DualShock 3 came out, they're like, oh, I guess we've magically fixed the problem.
A wizard fixed it.
A wizard.
Reb, you dropped us a good controller. What about a bad?
Finn gets to drop his bad controller because otherwise he's going to get really mad about it in 5 minutes.
All right, Finn, go ahead.
I just said the bad
us the
one. It was the
2-pack.
He did.
6-axis.
Oh no, he
Oh,
did
yeah.
actually. Yeah.
Are
it
you
was
sure there's not
6-axis.
another one?
I only needed one of each.
Jesus Christ. Okay. This is going to be not a hot take, but maybe a weird one. Let me tell you a little story of about, 5 years ago. I was a newly minted games writer. I was doing reviews on the Nintendo 3DS. And I was sent a copy of Mario and Luigi Paper Jam for the 3DS. Great game, honestly. Had a great time with it. But Mario and Luigi Paper Jam has a fun little mechanic, which you were familiar with if you've played any of the Mario RPG games, where you have to time your button presses in battle in order to attack things. And at the beginning of the game, this is very simple. You just sort of, hit the button when it says to hit the button and you go. But by the end of the game, you're doing like these really complicated fucking things in order to do lots of damage. You gotta get them right or you fuck up and take damage. And it's really, really critical. Now, I was still a little baby game journalist, and we were still not getting codes very quickly. And so I got this game with about, I think, a ballpark, but I think like 4 or 5 days to review it. It was not a full week. And that game, turns out, is an RPG. It is long. Let me just Google it really quick here to see how long that is. Mario and Luigi Paper Jam. How
it's like
long?
A 25, 30-hour game, right?
I feel like it was longer. No, it is longer than that. It is 48 hours for the main story, according to HowLongToBeat.com, and 77 for the main plus extras. Oh wait, that's how many were pulled. I'm sorry. 27 hours to beat it on average. 34 plus extras.
That's still long.
That is still very long. So I was doing this in 4 to 5 days. I was very determined to get it done. And it turns out when you are trying to do those kinds of timed button presses on a 3DS controller, hours upon hours upon hours on end to review a game, it hurts. It's bad on your hands. I have repetitive motion injury. I probably was going to get it eventually due to my line of work, but I definitely credit the Nintendo 3DS and Mario and Luigi Paper Jam for giving me repetitive motion injury in the first place. Fucking Mario and Luigi and Paper Mario. So yeah, the Nintendo 3DS is my, it's not a controller, it's a whole system, but the controller is part of the system. The Nintendo 3DS is my least favorite fucking controller in the entire world.
So,
I love the 3DS as a system. I hope they never do that kind of handheld scheme again, though.
May I throw a little shade at the 3DS? I love it deeply.
It's great.
Again, I have Sasquatch hands, and even the 3DS XL is not comfortable to hold.
Too small.
It cramps my palms. There's no grip to it for the way that it curves.
That's
also,
true when you have small hands.
The new 3DS, we really need to talk about how their solution for right analog stick that didn't even get used in a lot of games was to just put a shitty, scratchy mouse nipple on, like, a corner of the controller.
Oh, yeah.
That was pretty bad.
Hang on.
Oh, yeah! I forgot about that. I forgot about that because I never used
have my
it
Monster
because there was
Hunter.
no reason to use it ever.
My Monster Hunter 3DS XL back here. Should be
Except
new,
to, like, turn
right?
the camera, right?
Look,
Like, you use that
look,
turn the
it's
camera.
right here.
Yeah, it's terrible.
This
No.
little,
I remember that fucking thing.
little sad nipple in the corner.
That was
looks
for,
like
like,
it should
camera
be a
turning,
button.
right? Like in Xenoblade
Yeah.
Chronicles
Yeah.
or whatever, you turn the camera with that.
It's bad, folks.
Bad
it's
choices,
bad.
yeah. Yeah,
So-
I do not miss that. No.
So piling onto the bad Nintendo controller stuff.
Fucking hands.
So I think I think we could all agree. Like, Davionne, you tell me what you think. Switch and turning a fucking Joy-Con sideways. Fuck that. It's terrible. Don't ever do it. It's the worst. Turning a Joy-Con sideways is like, for people like me with big hands, it's the absolute worst. I can see how it might work for somebody with small hands like Reb, but oh my god,
Why
like
does it sound like a burn?
Even people like
no,
me with
it's not a
normal
burn.
hands.
No, it's not a burn at all. I've just got big hands, and I just no, dude, that physically pains me on a no, Derek, stop. Like, I don't know, like, am I off base here, or does the Joy-Con seem super situational for a lot of people? Like, why would you ever choose to play your game like that? Look at that. Why would you ever do that?
I love the idea of the Joy-Con. I love the idea that you have this system where you have a controller and you're playing it on your couch, and then you pick it up and you can take it with you, and you can slide the side. You can either play it like this, or you can slide the sides off and play and hand one to a friend and play. That is so fucking smart. Holy fucking shit. And I also respect deeply the fact that combining all three of those things into one system must have been a design nightmare. How do you get controllers that are comfortable to hold to like this and like this with a friend? Like, how do you do that? I do not know the correct answer. I don't love the Joy-Con broken off. What they did is not quite work for me. I have tiny hands, so it works for me better than other people.
But you can add like a centimeter of extra length with the Joy-Con grip.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Makes all the difference in the world. Davionne, do you ever play with a Joy-Con sideways?
I do. It's only when I'm like playing with friends and like we're playing Smash or Mario Kart or whatever, and like
if you're at a rooftop party and somebody busts their Switch out.
Yeah, exactly. You got to be the cool guy in that situation.
Yeah. It's the absolute last resort. You are like, when people come over, it's asking them, okay, do you have any Pro controllers? Do you have enough Joy-Cons that we could slide them onto one of those little like middle pieces and make a full controller? Does anybody have like a Wavebird we can plug in with an adapter somehow? No?
Yeah,
okay,
no,
fine.
no,
You get
the
one person in the room we don't like, you get the Joy-Con.
I think we also need to call out the Wii U gamepad for bad controllers as well.
Yes, 100%.
Talk about 7-minute battery life.
Well, no, dude, like I said, I've been playing Wind Waker HD. I just finished it again for like the umpteenth time the other day. And dude, after a few hours, I'm like, well, I guess I better switch over to my Wii Pro controller because my fucking gamepad is dead now. And plus, like, dude, holding that thing, like, it feels like you're holding baby's first controller. It feels like a Fisher-Price toy. Like, there's no other good way to put it. Like, and what's interesting is that, like, you can see the concept of the Switch in the Wii U gamepad, but with none of the ingenuity and none of the personality. And I hate, and what sucks is that it's so instrumental for playing games in the Wii U, and I hate it's one of the reasons the Wii U is just not a good system, right? Like, I feel like the Wii U gamepad played a huge role in that.
I mean, it's the only thing that made the Wii U different, so yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Davion, what was that?
The Wii U died so that Switch could live, really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. No, that's a really good way of putting it.
I'm going to show you guys a controller that should, by all means, be fucking awful. And it's actually great. Okay?
The Resident Evil 4 chainsaw controller.
This little babu right here.
That's not great. No, it's
not.
No.
It is surprising. Look at how tiny this is. Look at this. But the thing is, it is so light. Unlike holding something like a 3DS, where part of the problem is that I have to exert some minor amount of effort to keep the thing in position. This little thing's really not that bad.
That's a keychain. That's a keychain decoration.
But you don't like the Joy-Cons, and you like that.
But yeah, the Joy-Cons are weirder.
The Joy-Cons are bigger than that.
The Joy-Cons are weirdly worse. Part of what makes the Joy-Cons worse is that it's longer, but to one side, so that either your buttons or your D-pad are in the middle of the controller. Like, and that's awful.
Why has everyone got so many bad takes tonight? What the fuck?
I'm just saying, this is my little tablet controller on the worst of times. So.
Finn had a good take. The Resident Evil 4 chainsaw is pure trash.
Okay.
It's real bad. Finn finally had a good time.
You know, my favorite of those, the PS2 Xbox GameCube era
had some
weird glut of weird controllers. But I will die defending the dumb Dragon Quest 8 slime controller.
Yes! I want that slime controller. I want the Dragon Quest 11 slime controller for Switch, but they're so expensive because you have to import them, and they sold out immediately. But I will absolutely play on a gigantic Switch that just has a gigantic slime, that just has some buttons slapped on the bottom side of it.
It looks like you're playing a game with a massive Hershey's Kiss, and I just love that. Like that's what I love about the slime controller. It sounds like Davion knows what we're talking about too. Davion with the slime controller.
I saw ads for that when I first got Dragon Quest 8 as a kid, and I was like, I need that, and I just never got it, and I was just it's on my bucket list of things to get.
It's so good. I just wanted to, I just want to own it. Like, I
don't
really
want
to
to
play
on his
anything
forehead.
on it. I know.
So
I just want to take
adorable.
I want to take the slime controller to put it on my pillow at night and give him a little smooch. Yeah, we are bumping up against our time here. Did anybody want to throw out another controller take before we start doing a little housekeeping here? I will.
You know what? Just a quick shout out to the Wii and the Wii U balance boards.
The balance board.
Oh my God.
Not a great idea, really, but also kind of a great idea in some ways. And we had 2 of them by the end of the Wii U's life cycle, and we used them as steps for the kittens we were fostering to climb into the too tall litter box. So shout out to the balance boards.
Hey, while we're on that topic, Reb, of fitness stuff, apparently the Ring Fit ring is really good.
One would imagine, having not been able to find one in stock, but whatever. Whatever.
I wish I could confirm that. But I guess I'm just gonna get fat.
Nothing wrong with that.
True fact.
Oh, look at that. Oh, Finn showing off.
Finn be like, I have
must
one
be
and I don't
nice.
even use it.
I wear it as a hat.
Why is that so funny?
You beautiful beast, you.
Finn just puts it on his head with a joy gun in there.
Of course, it would immediately fall to his shoulders because it's a giant ring.
Finn just wears it as a necklace around the house.
It's
No, you weren't listening. He said he wears it as a hat.
It's such a throwback to the dumbest Family Guy thing from its original season. Just what I don't even remember the context of the line. Just he goes, "It can also be a hat," and I just say it with random things, and it makes me giggle.
It made us giggle. So we are bumping up against our time here. I would like to say that I am so excited to be playing Final Fantasy VII Remake at midnight. I have not been this excited about a game in many years, and especially since the game is apparently very, very, very good. I am just over the moon for this one. I am so excited. That's the real reason I got dressed right, so I could wear a suit and tie playing fun. No, that's. But I want to really seriously thank Davionne for coming on with us tonight and talking about She Dreams Elsewhere. Davionne, thank you so much for spending a Thursday night with us.
Hey, thanks again for having me. Like, this is a great time.
No,
One more time, plug your channels.
Please.
Y'all can find me and my bitch ass at Studio Zevere or at Davionne Gooden, both Twitter and Instagram. Wishlist the game on Steam. And it's also on itch.io too if you want that good old Mac version of the demo. And yeah, hopefully stay tuned. Maybe one of these days I'll actually release it, finish it.
Soon.
But who knows?
Soonish. This game can't come fast enough. Thank you so much to Davionne for coming on, and just a little message to the people who watch us and people who listen to us. I know this is kind of a lonely time for a lot of people right now. Just remember to not just check in on your friends for their sake, check on them for your sake as well. It's always good to reach out and talk to people during times like this. I can hear myself talking. It's really weird. I don't know why. But it's always good to reach out and talk to people in times like this to make sure that they're doing okay. But you also need human interaction for yourself, I think. And so please, it's check in your friends and look after yourself at the same time. There's a lot going on right now. We have a Discord that the Nightbot just threw out there. Is that the correct link this time?
Probably not, unless anyone other than me has ever logged into Nightbot. Because I haven't updated it.
I think I pointed it out. Yeah, that invite's invalid. Let me get the actual link.
Okay. Yeah. We just need to get the Nightbot up. No big deal. But Reb will throw the. But we have a Discord channel with 200 plus people in it. We got a lot of channels, including a venting channel and a channel uplifting words, uplifting statements. If you're feeling socially withdrawn right now, as I imagine many of you are, please join us or just hit us up on Twitter. We're always willing to reach out and talk, and we care about you deeply. And we just want everybody to be taking care of themselves seriously, and also wash your fucking hands and stay 6 feet away from each other, because this is nothing to joke about. Does anybody have any keeping before we do have a community game night coming up on Saturday? We're doing another Animal Crossing community game night Saturday at 9 p.m. I'm going to tear myself away from Final Fantasy VII to do a community game night on Saturday. Our Animal Crossing game nights are always a really good time. Reb, you got anything else? You got anything coming up with GIindustry.biz?
Just a piece tomorrow that's got a couple shorter interviews that I did at PAX East. One with Davionne, which is fantastic, and then a couple others. What?
Yeah,
that guy. Ugh.
Yeah.
Oh no, he's so cool.
He's great.
He's really cool. And then one with the game Welcome to Elk. And then I have absolutely just lost my mind and forgotten about the other one because I've already written and submitted it. I've been really bad. Forest Cathedral. So those 3 games.
Shout out Brian Wilson. He's great.
Oh yeah, he ruled. They honestly, all 3 of them were really great. PAX East was a blast. I love the conversations that I get to have there, and this one in particular was really, really great for talking to a lot of really cool indies, and there are more to come after that. So
All right. Well, Derek and Finn, you guys got anything else? Anything you want to throw out there? Anything?
Stay
Derek,
hydrated, folks.
Derek, are you streaming tomorrow?
Yeah, Control.
Yeah. What time, Derek? Where at?
Oh, on my Twitch channel, which everyone here knows, Derek of the Dykes. I mean, you follow me on Twitter anyway. And then 11 a.m. Eastern time. You caught me off guard. I'm not used to talking about my streaming on the show itself. But the important thing is that we will be having a show next week as well, because that's what we do.
We will.
Words.
Are we? Okay, never mind. I was gonna ask some, but I'll ask it offline. All right, everybody, take care of each other, and remember, it's not always poetry. We don't always agree, but we always keep it real. So until next week, wash your hands, take care of each other, and we'll see you later.